The legend of Hercules is one of the most popular in all of Greece, loved by poets, playwrights, and painters. But what made him so famous? Was it his strength, intelligence, or good looks? The answer is yes to all of these and more. Hercules was many things to many people. To some he was a great hero. To others he was a symbol of masculine perfection. But to me, he was simply a man trying to do his best in a world that did NT make it easy for him. In this episode, we will tell you the story of his adventures, battles, and everything that made him who he was. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. You won't regret it. Trust me. Before we get into the details of this legendary hero, let us first talk about his birth. According to Homeric hymn number 4, which is dedicated to Hercules, he was the son of Zeus and a mortal woman named Alcmene, who lived in Thebes. However, there are other versions of his parentage that exist in Greek mythology. In one version, he was the son of Poseidon, the god of the sea, and in another, he was the son of Hermes, the messenger of the gods. But this last version is not very well known, and it is not accepted by most scholars. When Zeus decided to have an affair with Alcmene, he took the form of an eagle and carried her away to a mountain called Helicon. There he impregnated her and then returned her to her husband, Amphitryon. When Alcmene gave birth to her son, she named him Hercules because he was the strongest of all mortals. However, Hera, the wife of Zeus, was furious with him for his infidelity and vowed to make his life miserable. From the moment Hercules was born, he exhibited superhuman strength. At the age of 5, he killed a giant serpent that had been sent by Hera to strangle him in his sleep. This was his first feat of strength, and it foreshadowed many more to come. As he grew older, he became a great warrior and a skilled hunter. He was also known for his courage, his loyalty, and his compassion. However, Hera's jealousy did not abate. She continued to torment him throughout his life, causing him to suffer from bouts of insanity, during which he committed terrible acts of violence. The first labor that Hera inflicted upon him was the destruction of his own family. While Hercules was at war with the centaurs, he was poisoned by one of them with a special bow and arrow that was dipped in the blood of the Lernaean Hydra. The poison drove him insane, and he went on a rampage, killing his wife Megra and their 3 sons. When he came to his senses, he was filled with remorse and shame. He wandered the earth for 7 years, seeking to atone for his sins. During this time, he performed 12 labors to prove his worthiness and to win back the favor of the gods. These labors were tasks that were seemingly impossible to accomplish, but Hercules completed them all with his great strength and courage. These included slaying the Nemean lion, a huge beast with impenetrable skin, cleaning the stables of King Helios in just one day, capturing the Cyrenian hind, a sacred deer that belonged to the goddess Artemis, capturing the Erymanthian boar, a gigantic pig that was so tough that it could not be killed by any weapon, stealing the apples of the Hesperides, 3 beautiful maidens who guarded a garden full of golden apples that gave immortality, defeating the Hydra, a many-headed water monster that grew 2 heads for every one that was cut off, stealing the belt of Hippolyta, a warrior queen who led a tribe of Amazons, and finally, catching Cerberus, the 3-headed dog that guarded the entrance to the underworld. These labors were not only physically demanding, but they also tested Hercules' character and his resolve. For example, when he was sent to capture the Cyrenian hind, he could have easily killed the animal and ended the task right there. But instead, he chose to spare its life and to capture it alive, even though it would take much longer and be much more difficult. This act of mercy showed that he was not just a brute force, but also a compassionate and honorable warrior. After completing his 12 labors, Hercules was finally forgiven by Hera and allowed to return to Olympus, where he lived happily ever after with his new wife, Deianira. However, this ending is not the only one that exists in Greek mythology. There is another version in which Hercules dies a tragic death after being tricked by his half-brother, Iphicles. According to this version, after completing his 12 labors, Hercules was returning home when he saw a beautiful woman bathing in a river. He couldn't resist her charms and tried to approach her, but she turned out to be the goddess Athena in disguise. She was testing his virtue and his self-control, and he failed miserably. She cursed him and made him go mad again. This time he killed his half-brother, Iphicles, and many other people. When he came to his senses, he realized that he had committed another terrible sin and that he needed to atone for it. He went to the Oracle of Delphi to ask for guidance, but the answer he received was cruel and unexpected. The only way to purify himself was to make one final journey to the faraway land of Erythea and yoke the 4 invincible horses of the sun. Hercules set out on his journey, but he never returned. Some say he was killed by the centaur Nessus while crossing the river Phasis. Others say he was taken to Mount Olympus by the gods to be immortalized. Still, others say he simply vanished without a trace. We don't know for sure what happened to him, but we do know that his legend lived on long after he died. The story of Hercules is one of the most epic and heroic tales in all of Greek mythology. It tells us about his amazing strength, bravery, and determination, but it also tells us about his flaws and weaknesses as a human being. He was not perfect by any means. He was often driven by his desires and passions, which caused him to make mistakes and suffer the consequences. But he was always willing to learn from his mistakes and try to do better next time. He was a man who constantly strived to be better than he was yesterday. And that is something that we can all aspire to be. His story is also a reminder that jealousy and hatred can drive people to do terrible things. Hera's jealousy towards Alcmena and Hercules caused her to torment him throughout his life and to make him pay for his father's infidelity. She was a symbol of the dark side of human nature, the side that can turn good things bad and happy things sad. But her jealousy also made Hercules stronger and wiser, because he had to overcome many obstacles and challenges to prove himself worthy of his father's love and the respect of the gods. Hercules' story is also a celebration of the power of love and loyalty. Despite all the hardships he faced, he never gave up hope of redeeming himself in the eyes of the gods and mortals. He never abandoned his friends and allies. He never forgot his duty and honor. He was a true hero who sacrificed everything for the greater good. And that is why he became one of the most popular and influential figures in Greek mythology. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future videos. Thank you for watching. Until next time.